I started in, we finished the song, and then Prince walked off to the side of the stage, and he just threw his guitar up in the air and turned around and walked off with this little sort of swagger, sort of shaking his head. And then everybody sort of realized, like, where'd that guitar go?
Prince wasn't even invited. The band didn't expect him. The band weren't even sure they wanted him to play. And yet, he walked on stage and delivered one of the most talked about guitar solos ever captured on film. And drummer Steve Ferrone was right there. You'll hear exactly what went on in rehearsals for the induction of George Harrison to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and how that unbelievable moment unfolded. I'm Paul Stevenson from VRP Rocks, and this is Steve Ferrone.
Well, it wasn't previewed that Prince was going to play with us. You know, it was basically everybody that was playing was friends of George and had a relationship with George. Well, you know, we rehearsed out here, and then we went to New York, and we get to the rehearsal in New York, and Steve Winwood was there, showed up, Jeff Young. Jeff Young, he played piano, you know, and so we were all there, and we were, you know, getting ready to run down the song, and Winwood said to me, he said, "Hey, look, there's Prince over there, right?" And I looked over, and Prince was over there, like plugging in his amp with his roadie, doing his stuff, and I said, "What's he doing? Is he going to play with us?" And he said, "I don't think so. It looks like he's going to play with us." And what had happened was that Prince had expressed an interest in playing While My Guitar Gently Weeps with us, which had caused a bit of an upset because, you know, there was, you know, it was supposed to be George's friends, and Prince didn't really know George, and so they you know, they went and asked Olivia, and Olivia said, "Well, you know, you're supposed to be George. Well, I'll tell you what, ask the band." And there was this moment of like, okay, you know, this outside guy coming in. I didn't know what was going on at that point. There was just this sort of like vibe that was happening on the stage. So I said to Winwood, I said, if he's going to play, I'm going to go over and say hello to him. And Winwood said, "You're not?" And I said, "Yeah, because, you know, Prince had this reputation of like, don't look at me, don't talk to him. You know, there's all these stories that went around." And I said, "Well, you know, I'm going to play with him. I'm going to go over and say hello." So I wandered over, and I said, "Hi, Prince. How you doing? My name's Steve Ferrone, and looking forward to playing with you." You know, and he looked at me. He said, "Oh, I know who you are." And I said, "Oh, great." And I thought, I Feel For You, because I played on I Feel For You, and that was his song. You know. So just a quick chat, and I said, "Okay, well, you know, I'm going to go back over there now. Looking forward to it." And I walked back over, and Wim was like, "What was it? What did he say? What was he like?" I said, "He's nice. Go over and say hello. You should go say hello to him. He's very nice." So anyway, we started the rundown, and we started playing, and Prince just sort of strummed along. At the end of the run through, Tom turned to Prince and he said, "Well, why don't you take the second solo?" And Prince said, "Okay, no problem." And that was it. And then he left. Right?
Wow.
Come showtime, you know, we get up there and we start to play, and Prince is there on the stage, and he's way over the other side of the stage, and he's just sort of strumming along with us. And he gets to his solo, and he started to play that solo off over to the left, and then he moved to the center of the stage, you know, and he was wailing. It sounded great, you know. So we were all up there and we're all playing along. And all of a sudden, Prince turns his back to the audience, and he's looking at us, and he's playing, and he falls off the stage, you know. And we were, "Oh, God." Prince just fell off the dang stage. And he had this guy in the audience, a great big black guy in the audience, grabbed him and pushed him back up onto the stage. It was a show he put on a show for us, It wasn't really for the audience; it was a show for us. And then he just played this blistering solo, and it was basically up to Tom. He was going to cue me to start the ending. You know, he turned around and he cued me to start the ending. I started it, and we finished the song, and then Prince walked off to the side of the stage, and he just threw his guitar up in the air and turned around and walked off with this little sort of swagger, sort of shaking his head. You know, and then everybody sort of realized, like, where'd that guitar go? But you know, it didn't become evident as you're doing that thing. You're really just sort of playing the song, and he turned it into really a fun thing with, you know, putting on this show for us. He'd probably just gone off and put it together. Okay, I'm going to fall off the stage. You catch me. You get up in the rig in there and catch a guitar when I throw it up there. And and he'd arranged this whole thing. What a showman!
Absolutely.
It seemed like the show was for the band more than it was for the audience. But in between all that stuff was this blistering guitar solo that was just phenomenal. You know, and of course, you know, Tom with his musical sensibility, you know, he knew there was a beginning, a middle, and an end, and he knew when he got to the end, he knew when that thing had when it had run its course. And he turned around, nodded at me, and I started the retard for the end. You know? But yeah, it was quite a thrill, and especially to see how many people have looked at that video on I mean, millions and millions upon millions. I don't know, 50, 60 million people have all seen that video, and I still, you know, somebody actually just last week, somebody said, "Is that you?" in the back. Yeah, yes. You know, yeah, it was quite an event. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Did you get to see Prince afterwards, or did he just disappear? I mean, have you spoken to him about that performance ever since?
That was it. That was the last time I saw him. Last time I spoke to him, and that was it. Didn't even get a chance to say, "Man, yeah, it's a hell of a solo." You
Wow.
know, a great solo. Yeah.